Today, we're going to be looking at game design. Some of my favorite video games are indie games, but some of my least favorite games are also indie games. And what generally separates the favorite from the least favorite aren't graphics or sound or things of that nature. What makes a game my favorite is whether or not it's fun, the actual game design itself. Not the programming, not the graphics, but good game design. But this is something we seldom talk about. And in fact, you can find hundreds of tutorials of how to make an object move in Unity or how to unwrap a mesh in Blender, but very few people actually talk about game design as something that can be learned. Why is that? No, seriously, why do so many people literally spend months or years making a video game just to neglect game design? Are we as game designers sometimes too focused on solving a programming problem that we can become myopic and lose sight of the big picture? Because of this, I'm actually going to make several videos exploring different attributes of game design, and hopefully this will help someone. Today, the theme is nostalgic tribute games. The game in the background is called Ex-Zodiac, and it's a nostalgic tribute game. 3 guesses of which game it's nostalgic for. That's right, Star Fox. And it mimics this quite well. Nostalgic tribute games are great to make as they have several benefits. Let's go ahead and talk about those benefits. First, they allow a lot of game design work to already be done for you. Someone else has made a popular game, and you can use that game as a framework for your own. In this example, how one moves, fires, barrel rolls, power-ups, etc. basically all come from the inspiration. The second benefit of nostalgic video games is that you have a built-in fan base. You don't need to market as much as it will naturally draw people in. There's a definite hunger for old games that people love, but just aren't being made anymore. A third benefit, nostalgic tribute games are also easy to design graphics and sound for because you kind of already have an overall tone that you can draw from inspiration. So even if you're not the artist or the musician, you can point to it quite literally and say, I want something like this. So though there are a lot of benefits to nostalgic tribute games, there are also a lot of things that you need to be cautious about. Primarily, your game will be compared to the game it tributes. This restricts a lot of the things that you can do because if you stray too far from the source material, you will get pushback. But simultaneously, if you stay too close to the source material, you will also get criticism. You have to bring something new to the formula while still staying true to the source. That's hard. This means when you're doing playtesting, which you must do, you have a smaller pool of players to choose from because you will have to find players who like the source game so that their feedback is relevant to your game. This also means that you need to love the game that you're attributing. You can't just simply pick up an old popular game and hope for the best. Fans will see through that so quickly. You have to know what makes the game good, and you have to bring that to the table. It has to be from love. You can't tribute something you don't love. We've seen this all the time in media. Think about movies that are rebooted. How many reboots do people walk out and say, I love that. That was a great reboot? Very seldom, right? But if it happens, it's because the director loved the source material. Looking at Ex-Zodiac, you can tell that the designer loves Star Fox. The way that the ship moves, the guns, the bombs, the charge weapon, the barrel rolls, everything's there. Beyond this, there's also some small tidbits that people might not pick up on. So for example, the first world, you're in a city with buildings falling on you. That is very, very reminiscent of Star Fox's. Bosses show visual damage, like parts fall off of them. Enemies talk to you, and there's also very specific nods to certain enemies and weapons. These Easter Island heads and plasma rings are a direct callback to several games from the 80s and the 90s. Also, this level with the dragon, my goodness, this is 100% from an arcade game from the 80s and the 90s. There is a love put into this that just shows through. The developer loves Star Fox and isn't just mimicking the game. They're being inspired by the game, and it translates so well. This love needs to be tempered so that you're not blinded to the shortcomings of the old source game, though. Ex-Zodiac does a really good job most of the time, but there's some areas that it does get blinded by the nostalgia. It is so difficult to determine how far away a projectile is from hitting you. Distances are just hard to compute with this old style graphics, and even as my little daughter was watching me play, she's like, are you getting hit or are you hitting things? I can't really tell what's going on the screen. So you need to make sure that you're not blinded and you still bring modern sensibilities to the game. One of the coolest things about YouTube is it's a community of people. Surely I've missed something. What are some other benefits of nostalgic video games? What are some other pitfalls or things that you need to be cautious of nostalgic video games? I'm not just saying this to drive traffic, I'm genuinely interested to learn myself. So if you want to kind of comment below with your expertise of what are some things that I've missed, or what are some things that you disagree with that I can consider, I'd love to hear that. In conclusion, we're going to look at Ex-Zodiac with just some random things. This is feedback to the designer, the game developer, and it's also feedback for us to just kind of see like some shotgun different bits of information of what makes this game good and some areas that might need to be improved. First of all, Ex-Zodiac does so many things right. The boss fights are absolutely amazing. They're varied, they're interesting. It kind of feels like a Dark Souls boss fight, and I just love them. I love the boss fights. The levels are short and to the point, giving you new thing after new thing after new thing, so it doesn't feel old and repetitive. And I love that about that as well. It keeps you interested. The sound design is also just so crisp and clean. When you're making a game, sound design matters. It absolutely matters. When I turn on this game, I just feel excited to play, and I feel like my childhood all over again. It's very cool. Let's talk some specifics. In Ex-Zodiac, you can actually change controls according to what you want. This is a must in games. If your game doesn't have this, I will bounce off of it so fast. I started to play this and I didn't really like very much how you pushed up and you'd go up and you push down and you'd go down. I'm so used to the inverted controls from Star Fox that I actually changed that into the controllers. But this game has that. Please, if you're making a video game, do that. 100% do that. The graphics, I love the graphics. Some people might say, well, I want more, fancy graphics. I'm totally fine. But I've mentioned this before, it is difficult to judge distances or necessarily sometimes see what's on the screen. So there is a drawback with that, and maybe a little bit of work in that direction could help a lot. These bullets, I have no idea how to dodge them. I just move around the screen and hope for the best. They get bigger and bigger, and it's like, okay, maybe it's coming, maybe it's not. I don't know. There's this weird thing that you can see the mouse cursor on the game. I don't know if your game has that or not, but I really like it. If I go into a game, it gets rid of the cursor so that I can just see the whole game, and it's not visually distracting. There was one boss that I literally died when I killed them, and then I lost the game. I don't know. That didn't feel very good to me. So I don't even know what to suggest. Again, this is just random thoughts with random art attack. If you have a game in which there's a tie, maybe default to the player, or I don't know. This was weird. Or if the player dies, turn off the hit collisions for the weapons so that the boss can't then die also. I don't think that this should probably happen in a game. Probably my last nitpick, and again, it's just nitpicking. I love this game. I've said that so many times. And this will be good for anybody making a video game because it scales. This feedback just scales to everyone. Sometimes there's too much on the screen for me to tell what's going on. And let me give you a specific example. You have somebody talking at the bottom while lots of things are shooting at you at the same time, and I have no idea what's going on. There is a planet where you're on a motorbike, as you can see on the screen, and you're getting really good information, but so much new information is coming at you that you can't really read what's going on, and they're giving you pointers and tips of how to actually beat the level, but you can't read it because the level's throwing so much at you at the same time. So just be conscientious of how much is on the screen as these things are talking to you. Star Fox 64 fixed this problem by actually putting voice on it, so they could talk to you, but you could listen to the voice. This I have to read, otherwise it's just, wah, 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 wah. And then I can't see that and dodge bullets at the same time. Besides that, I really liked this game, and it's still in early access. If you're interested in it, it's pretty cheap, to be honest. That's another thing I didn't talk about because it really was outside the scope of this tutorial, but pricing a game really matters. And so I think this game is priced pretty much perfectly, to be honest. It's currently priced at $8.99. I think it might be on sale now that it's new. I don't know. I'm sure it's not on sale when you watch this video. Anyways, $8.99 for this game. That's great. $20, I would not go to this game. $10 maybe, but at its current price, it's like that's a great price, and I'm very interested in that price and this game for that price. So pricing was great. Overall, really good game. Really like it. Developers, you should be commended. This is very cool. Awesome. Also, all of you who are watching this video, if you have an indie game and you would like to get some recognition or publicity to it, I'm going to start to do some video tutorials in which I look at people who are designing games and I play these games and I give feedback while I play them. So you'll get feedback for your game, depending if it fits the channel or not. People get to see the game, see if they like it or not, and then developers also get to see and learn from other people's game design. So it's kind of a win-win-win. So if you're interested, go ahead and reach out to me. Let me know about your game, give me some information, and if it fits the channel, I'd love to put it into a video form feedback. And there you go. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a wonderful day, and subscribe, thumbs up, do all that cool stuff, and go check out Ex-Zodiac. It's a really fun game. I've enjoyed it. I'm going to get back and try and maybe beat some of the levels at higher than C's or D's, and there you go. Awesome. Bye.